poverty for good.
Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
Greg Bakun here. I love historic tours of Minneapolis and seeing everything it has to offer. But if you know me, I like to include a little spooky in my tours, which is why I found the perfect combination. Minneapolis Trolley Tours does this amazing candlelight ghost tour that you have to check out. It's an extremely immersive experience. It's a trolley trip that starts out at a haunted mansion, traveling around Minneapolis locations, exposing ghost stories that the public and business owners would rather left untold. Then a tour of the aforementioned haunted mansion where ghosts of past residents from the 1800s reside, plus a lot of surprises to discover. Next, experience Gertrude's After Hours. Did I mention Gertrude is the mansion's most famous ghost? Maybe she'll show up. And you finish up the tour at Gertrude's Lounge in the haunted basement of the mansion with refreshments and Q&A. The trolleys are climate controlled and the mansion is restored to perfection. Check out MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for more information.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for showers and storms tonight with a low around 65, Saturday partly cloudy with a high near 79, and Sunday sunny with a high around 80. Experience live music like never before at Crooner's Supper Club. Enjoy top-tier performances in the main stage showroom, Dunsmore Jazz Room, or Under the Stars at the Belvedere. Plus, Maggie's Piano Lounge is always open with no cover charge. Find more details at croonersmn.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us. Share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story. This is our story. This is GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun.
Casual Friday. Casual Friday. Casual Friday on GhostBox Radio.
And this is Casual Friday on GhostBox Radio. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, and very happy to be here. But I do want to start off real fast by saying if you are in the Twin Cities area or in southern Minnesota, please make sure that you're keeping an eye on the radar, what's going on. There are multiple severe thunderstorm warnings outside of the Twin Cities that if you're outside there, please take a look at. It looks like we're going to have a sort of a stormy evening. I mean, storms are rolling into the Twin Cities, but they're not severe. A severe thunderstorm warning was in my area, and that expired at 9:45. But folks, just keep your eyes open. It could be a tumultuous night. If you have a weather radio or if you have your phone, please set to just warn you so that if there is something that goes amiss, and hopefully there isn't, that you have time to react to it. Meanwhile, in Eden Prairie, we have Adam with us tonight. Adam, how are you doing?
Doing good. And just as the intro music hit, the floodgates opened, and it is now pouring here in Eden Prairie. It is absolutely pouring through the cam. I can see the outside, and we've had quite a few lightning strikes. So please stay away from windows. Please seek a shelter if you possibly can. We are under a thunderstorm warning right now in the Eden Prairie area in Hennepin County, and it looks like part of Dakota County as well. So if you are in those areas, please pay attention.
So there is one in the Twin Cities area then, huh?
Yep, it just popped up.
Got it. Okay, yeah. So just make sure. Thank you for that. Please make sure that you are keeping your eye on everything. And we knew that this was coming, so hopefully it's fine. Hopefully you stay on the air over there. I mean, like we talked off air. I mean, the station is held together by one cord plugged in at the moment. I think.
Yeah, one cord holding up the world like it's Atlantis.
So, yeah, if anything breaks in terms of weather news, Adam, just let us know, and we'll bring up the radar again for those who are watching on Facebook. So, but once again, we just have stuff going on. Make sure that you are keeping on the situation, as you know, as you know how this works. The conditions can change at any time, even if it looks like that things are not serious. By the time it gets to you, that might be a completely different story. And it looks like out to the south, that would be the southwest, that storms are pretty powerful out there as well. So folks, just be careful out there. It is Friday, and what that means is that we'll talk about anything, but I am kind of going to load this tonight based on question of the week, which we're going to get into in the second segment here. Question of the week basically is all about being on television, okay? And so the question is, if you are asked to be featured or take part on a paranormal TV show, would you do it? Why would you do it? Or what would stop you? Because I want to talk about that in the next segment. And also, by the time we get to the third segment, I want to talk about some of my experiences getting into television. Had a real close call almost had a show on the Travel Channel. Very, very close to that. I had worked with a local production company for one of the episodes of Ghost Brothers that took place in the Twin Cities. I was on a local show, so not as much as some people have been, but I've had some experiences. I have some thoughts on that as well, but we'll talk about that as time goes on there. And, you know, as we say, that basically, and this is just how it goes, because I think a lot of people, not everyone, as we're going to find out in the answers here, but if you think you could be famous being on a paranormal show, I think you're going to get there a lot faster by attending a Coldplay concert is how I think that's going to work. Just letting everyone know, kind of some inside baseball there, Adam, just letting you know how it works.
Oh my goodness. That was everywhere.
Well, I mean, and we can't avoid it. I mean, that's just, it's too good. I mean, it's too good to just not have comment about at all.
And, you know, it's like everywhere is making a comment about it. On Sports Center this morning, the two anchormen, when it went from showing some highlights back to them live, they were in the same position, ducked away. And then this evening in Philadelphia, the Philly Fanatic and Mrs. Philly Fanatic were shown on Kiss Cam, also ducking out of the way.
You know what's frightening about all this, though, is not so much the act there, but the number of AI generated imagery that's created by who's in the Kiss Cam, and these AI generated things are like spot on. You know, they're so good. One I saw was of Trump and Hillary Clinton, and I haven't even drank yet, folks. That was like really good looking, you know. I mean, it was like real. They looked like, it's like this is scary. And then it's not even only images; it's actually moving footage as well of, like, you know, them like running off and doing the same thing that those two clowns did last night or whatever night it was at the Coldplay concert. So yeah, crazy.
You know, one of the better ones I've seen was Homer and Maude Flanders.
Oh, now you're kind of bringing some paranormal into this. That's good. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that was the one that made me chuckle the most. And then, of course, somebody else on Simpsons subreddit had Itchy and Scratchy.
It just reminds me that watching an episode of The Simpsons, as I watch that whole live stream all the time, and it was the episode where Homer became Duffman, and he had all this Duff gear, and one of them is a t-shirt cannon, and Marge, and he's like shooting it around outside, and so are the kids, and Marge is like, careful, you don't want to hurt anyone with that, and Homer's like, oh, Marge, no one ever died from a t-shirt cannon. And then Bart fires one and it goes and it lands, breaks through the Flanders window and hits a picture of Maud. Smashes it.
Yeah, because she did die from the t-shirt cannon at the motor car race.
She did.
Right.
She did.
Yeah. Oh,
So
that's amazing.
That's good stuff. I mean, that's just great. And I'm sorry. It made me laugh, and it made me think about that. You know what's even more frightening than the AI imagery, though, from the Coldplay thing? Is, let's see if I can find it here, that it's, there is that the woman who's with the CEO, Andy Byron, and Kristen Cabot, her title is Chief People Officer. Chief People Officer. That makes me want to vomit, quite frankly. Yeah. More than the act of what they're doing, the terminology that people come up with for the titles for these jobs are just, I'm sorry, if you're a chief people person, whatever you are, no offense, but come on, you're HR. Why can't we be HR? And so then the woman who is off to the right and she has her hand against her face and she's like laughing, like, oh my God, the world now sees. A couple things about her. First of all, she's not a chief people officer. She is like head of people, I think is her term. I'm not kidding. It's some equally gross title. And then from there, the thing that I think, and you and I were talking about this off air, is the thing that's really gross about this, and this, anybody who's worked in corporate, you have probably seen it, it's never escalated full scale at a Coldplay concert, I am fairly certain, but that there is some hanky-panky going around in the upper echelons of a lot of corporate places. And I've certainly seen it in my time doing all my stuff, that the woman who's off to the side with her hand against her face, like, oh my God, she clearly was in on it. And that is just a real kind of, to me, disgusting sort of like commentary on how close knit some of these company officers are, if you will, but also how it's very much just like, everyone talks about ethics. They're all talking to us about ethics, right? I mean, I've been through 25 years of corporate places. You sit down, you talk about ethics, you sign stuff to say you're going to be ethical, you're going to be the best person you can be for this company. But then upstairs, it's happening. Upstairs, they don't seem to really care about those type of rules either. I just, it's just like, I don't, some stuff that happens and you see it constantly in your news feed and stuff. You're like, oh my God, let go. No, I like seeing this because this sort of thing needs to be, people need to see it and know that this stuff happens. And I think most people do know it happens, but more so that it needs to be exposed. That's my take.
Oh, absolutely. And for all the rules that are made up, and I've worked the corporate gigs before too. Yeah. You're signing your life away on day one. I will do this, I won't do this. But in all reality, the two massive corporate jobs that I've had, which will remain nameless, it truly is rules for thee, not me.
Oh yeah. There's one I will not get into, but it really shook me to the core at one place I worked at years ago that just shows me how disgusting people can be. But there was one at another place back in the early 2000s I worked at, and they had an event there where they didn't invite spouses, but it was like some kind of awards within like your department. It was a big department. It was about 200 some people, and they had cameras on the desks and stuff so that you can enjoy. And this was before digital, so they were like those little disposable cameras and stuff. And so you could enjoy those moments forever and get them developed and whatever else. And a couple of the VPs that were there were getting very hands-on with their secretaries, and it's a lot of pictures are taken that night. And the next day, personal assistants were going around to people asking them for the cameras back, basically.
Yep, I can see that. I've seen that in my life. It's cringy. It is beyond cringy.
It is. It really is. And it was a very very eye-opening. And I'm not Snow White over here. We know this stuff happens, but it's just kind of like I think some, not all, some are they think that they are not even above the law, because that's too simplistic. They're like they actually float on a cloud, is how I see some of these people. They really think they're doesn't stink.
Mm-hmm.
They think that they are literally just better human beings than the rest of us. And then it's like, oh, look at that. You actually are cheating on, obviously you can't tell a whole picture by one picture here, but his family looks like a pretty nice family. And I don't know the background. It was a nice family. Welcome to one of our newest millionaires, the ex-wife of.
It's kind of like Powerball without playing.
Yeah, right. I mean, and we make light of it, but I mean, they had they have like 3 children, and I don't know, maybe they'll do some kind of counseling or something. If I read on the internet, so it must be true, that she's like dropped away from all social media and everything, or dropped her last name. There's already all sorts of things. I just as long, and that's a consideration as well, is that there's kids involved. And I don't know about the chief people person, if she has kids. I'm sure she does. How it affects them as well, because suddenly, hey, dad's in the news, and not for the right reasons. And I don't know, Adam, when I was growing up, kids were pretty cruel.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you have all that cyberbullying and everything else that, hopefully they're trying to do something to protect that part of it, because it's gross. It's so gross. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I definitely see the wife taking down all of her socials, removing the married last name and everything, because, TMZ is going to be hitting them up, and all the other rags are going to be hitting them up. So, yeah, I definitely get her point for doing that.
Nope, I don't blame her one bit either. So once again, folks, we're going to move back to paranormal in the next segment. I just wanted to get this off my chest, more so because I wanted to tell people that there's actually really a position called chief people officer. That alone is just like, I don't know. Also, speaking of chief people. I was at another place I was at, and we would have parties, and the head of HR had her 15-year-old daughter there. Fine, no biggie. It's a very family friendly thing. Mm-hmm. Drinking alcohol out of a bottle, and that didn't seem to be an issue. So it's amazing what you see out there. I don't know.
It is, and the hypocrisy to go along with it, because let's say, for example, you saw this HR person and their kid is at the event doing that. Mm-hmm. Your kid posts a picture of themselves on their social media, drinking a bottle, dad, mom, someone's in the background, and you get called into HR that Monday morning.
Absolutely.
Where's the hypocrisy on that one?
Make no mistake, folks, if you don't know this, your company is monitoring your social media. And I'm not trying to be a fear monger here, but I went through it for not here, but other places I've been at, saying basically just be careful, because if you post something that's against our own our own beliefs or terminology, and that's not really beliefs, it's more of like we're trying to be ethical. Once again, the term ethical comes up. We're trying to be ethical. If we find you unethical and it's your own personal social media, we're going to take action against you. So, and I don't mind that. I think that if you're going to be horrible, you deserve to be called out for it. Mm-hmm. But also just don't be surprised if you find out, and you didn't really think about it, that there is some agency that is that is hired by your company, especially if it's a big company, that are kind of keeping tabs on just about everybody. They want to make sure that you can say what you want, but that the company, I guess, belief system is retained. So
there's your horror story for tonight, kids.
that's a horror story for tonight. You don't want to be called into the chief people officer office, as they first of all have to explain what that means, and then secondly have to tell you what you did wrong. So there we go. Question of the week. Trust me, we're getting back to paranormal. Question of the week: if you are asked to be featured or take part on a paranormal TV show, would you do it? Why would you do it? And what would stop you? I'd love to see your comments in the comment section. We got a lot that people have answered, a lot of very interesting takes across the board. And also, I want to share, if there's time, my experience working in television on the paranormal end as well. We're going to take our first break. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950.
Madison Comic and Pop Culture Expo comes to the Alliant Energy Center August 9th and 10th. Madison Comic and Pop Culture Expo is a celebration of comics, toys, TV, film, art, cosplay, games, and all things nerdy. It's also a family-friendly event where you can meet your favorite celebrities, browse the vendor hall and artist alley for all the coolest merch, watch celebrity Q&As, and even more. Madison Comic and Pop Culture Expo, also known as MadX, is going to be huge, with guests like Walter Jones from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, legendary wrestler Sting, plus other great guests from voice actors, authors, and artists all over the entire weekend. 2 days of action-packed fun at the Alliant Energy Center. Tickets start at $53. Kids tickets are just $9.99 for the entire weekend. Don't wait to get your tickets. Buy your tickets and get more information at MadisonComicExpo.com. MadX is Wisconsin's biggest Comic-Con, and don't forget Twin Cities Con is coming up in November. New guests are being announced all the time. Go to TwinCitiesCon.com for more information.
Greg Bakun here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville. Are you one of thousands of individuals who know you have psychic abilities but don't know how to tap into your higher self? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who offers classes that can help you reach your goals. Refined Divine holds classes Monday and Thursday at her 2 locations and via Zoom. Classes consist of manifestation, learning psychic abilities, shadow work, and healing trauma. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
This is Psychic Medium Deb. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
Casual Friday. Casual Friday. Casual Friday on GhostBox Radio.
And it is Casual Friday here on GhostBox Radio. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you for joining us as we try to ease you into the weekend. Consider me the chief people radio host for the remainder of the program. Adam, I'm thinking, during the break, we need to. You weren't living in the Twin Cities in the 80s.
No, I was not.
But I was thinking about, if there's like some kind of weather thing that we need to talk about, getting some kind of, and not even music, because I remember KSTP, I think it was, or one of the other ones, it'd be like almost like a Morse code sort of thing would break into the broadcast and it'd be like, I think that's what we need. Something very serious, ominous, if you will, that will really bring attention, maybe even cause some fear. I'm not quite sure. But, something like that.
There was a radio station I worked at back in Southeast Indiana where when we had a special weather event, like if this was to get severe, there would be the tornado siren as the sounder, and then we go into the weather forecast.
Oh, my God.
That was Woo Radio in Shelbyville, Indiana, years and years ago. I'm thinking 96-ish. Was when I did storm coverage out there, and we hit the sounder and it was the tornado siren.
I don't know if I were to not be from that area and I'm in the city, I'm in the town, and that happens, I'm not thinking tornado. I'm thinking nuclear holocaust is on its way. Right? I'm not thinking like, oh my gosh, here's the tornado. It's like, because that is, you don't get much more extreme than that.
Oh yeah, it's either the weather's bad or the cattle finally turned against everyone living in Shelby County.
God. It's just like in the small towns. Remember when we were out in where were we? Is that Grant City? Or no, Grant House in Rush City, excuse me. And they had one of those systems where if there's a fire or something, that there is like, because it's all volunteers, that a horn will sound and everyone will get together and then they'll go and get to the fire or whatever. That too, not being in an area like that would scare me, no doubt about it.
And my brother-in-law who lives up in Rush City, the first time that happened scared the living daylights out of him.
I don't
He
blame
had
him.
no idea what was going on. And he ended up finding out the next day in town. It's like he asked somebody like the Quick Trip or something there as you get into Rush City. But yeah, I think it was like 2 weeks after he moved up there. He was telling me, he goes, yeah, it sounded like, everybody needed to get under their desk and cover like we did in elementary school.
Did he hide in his refrigerator?
I don't know if he watches Indiana Jones.
Once again, it's Casual Friday over here at GhostBox Radio. Thank you very much for joining us. And once again, I hope those in the Twin Cities area and beyond are keeping their eyes on the weather for changing conditions. Let's respectfully move the conversation back to paranormal. Thank you once again for indulging me about the whole Coldplay thing last segment. Once again, the question of the week is, if you were asked to be featured or take part in a paranormal TV show, would you do it? Why would you do it? Or what would stop you? And I want to say something. I'm going to say this as delicately as possible. Please know I'm not having a go at anybody here. A lot of answers are from people who don't understand how television works. And I don't want to say you're either ignorant or naive. You just don't know. Because some of the answers, you think that you have a say in something and you never do. Let's just start with that very quickly. You'll never have a say in anything. And if you think that you do, they're going to edit the hell out of what you said anyway. So, and I don't mean to, I'm not going to be like, so you don't know anything about anything, but that's the thing that first came to my mind. And the answers tonight really go from people who have faith in humanity, which is your first mistake when you're talking paranormal television, to people who clearly have been through the ringer and are just like, I want to see it all burn. There's two very different things going on here tonight. So once again, and please, if you feel that you want to answer and that you think that you're going to be able to help promote the proper way of doing paranormal investigations through a TV show, I'd love to hear it. If you were asked to be featured or take part on a paranormal TV show, would you do it? Why would you do it? And if not, what would stop you from doing it? Bruce in the comments here says, definitely, he would definitely do it. Would be fun. Obviously, lots of work. The fact that paranormal could be hit or miss. Trust me, if you're on a TV show, it will be a hit. You will hit. You will not miss. Could make it difficult to keep costs reasonable while getting interesting material that keeps an audience coming back. That's a lot of pressure for the investigators. Not as much as you think. Now, let me also disclaim this, because there are shows out there that are very legit. Okay, they are legit. And I know this because I've seen the people, I've met them. I've currently know people who are working on current shows that I consider to be hugely authentic, and that's Haunted Discoveries. And I'm just going to say that I am friends with Brandon Elvis. I am friends with Andra, who is one of the line producers on there. And so I'm friends with them. I do not consider anything I'm saying about this. I'm not considering them when I'm talking about it. Let's just be very honest here. Lissy CL says, I am so over Para TV. I actually am too. Even though I say I know people from it, I'm glad that they're not making anything new. I mean, Haunted Discoveries are, but just that whole travel channel thing. But I'm surprised they keep rerunning the same stuff over and over again. I thought they're going to sell off years ago, and that's not the case. Not the case at all. Let's see. Oh gosh, this is I can see I've already opened when it's stuff we talked about. Let's just read this before I put it on the screen here. Yeah, I'm gonna put that on. See how it says, most of these people haven't been on TV in like 6 years, and they're running around like they're gods or something. They're running around like they're chief people officers. Is all I'm gonna say.
Chief people person.
Chief people, and para chief people. No, I am not drunk. But it's true. Okay, it's true, and these are conversations that I have quite a bit with people, and I appreciate that you're being very honest on here about it, because there are people now who, and this is a whole other conversation, and one of the answers really touch on this. People who've been on a show once and they milk it for 5 years. I mean, it's stuff like that. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's get to some of the responses once again for question of the week. Let's see here. God, someone. All right, CL. She calls them parasites.
It's okay. You say they show up on one show and milk it for 5 years. There is one location owner that came to mind right away.
Ooh, well, I mean,
well, I'm not going to say his name. I know what his name is, but it's the Manson murder house guy.
Manson.
Yeah,
oh God.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, he doesn't own the house, but he owns a house next to it, because the original house is. Yeah. Oh gosh.
Yeah, he has milked that for at least 15 years.
That's a whole different thing. All right, before I get sued, we're gonna move on here. Let's see here. If you were asked to be featured or take part on a paranormal TV show, would you do it? Why would you do it? Or what would stop you on this very cynical episode of GhostBox Radio? Shar says, possibly. I had a good experience. She was on My Ghost Story, which is, I consider, one of the best paranormal series of all time, that ended production about 20 years ago, if that gives you an indication. She said, I had a good experience, but wouldn't do it if I was asked to do something I don't agree with or lie about the investigation. And that's a very valid point. And I'll tell you, I mean, I don't know if for those who keep track and listen to this program, My Ghost Story for Shar, they actually talked about the Grant House and her experience there. The one thing that she suggested to them to talk about is her experience the first time that she was at the Villisca Axe murder house. And they said no, because they already had done one on Villisca. But let me tell you, folks, what Shar went through is one of the most frightening experiences I've ever heard about being at that place or any place, and that storms were a big part of it. It was just a different level, and it was very, very very frightening for someone like myself, that just hearing about it, but there's video to corroborate it. There's the storms and what happened, how they were honestly nearly killed that night. What happened there? There is EVPs that are intelligent to the Villisca situation. It is one of the most, and I don't mean this in a good way, one of the most amazing stories ever. And it's truly, they did the wrong story for sure. I mean, the Grant House is a great story, but that's not so much. Let's see here. If you're asked to be featured or take part on a paranormal TV show, would you do it? Why or why not? Megs says, I would do it, but couldn't feature anything where someone was taunting spirits or being disrespectful in any way. I appreciate that. Jim says, it all depends, and he wrote a bit of a book here. It all depends on the team. Right now, I'm disappointed by the manner in which YouTube paranormal teams, this is going to be a theme, are sensationalizing what they're doing for views, likes, and shares. For me, it's the overuse of words and phrases like demon house and most haunted location ever. I get it. I totally get it. And thumbnails featuring two team members wide-eyed and their mouths a gape or a gap, I guess, as if they just witnessed Linda Blair's head spin around a few dozen times. Well, this is worth my time. Is beginning to look like the new adventures of Scooby-Doo. They're so obviously targeting the lowest common denominator of paranormal enthusiasts that it's become an unintentional parody of itself. So I would have to see more honesty and integrity from a team before I agree to join them on TV. And some of us have a face for radio. There we are. So no, you're a good looking man. Don't put yourself down like that. I mean, that's I guys, I don't mean to just be so negative about the paranormal. I mean, I do sometimes, but I mean, the thing is, some of us, we've been seeing this sort of activity, this sort of behavior, and I can't disagree with him one bit on that. It's so much, because it is so much more, and some of the conventions, not all, some of the conventions fall into suit as well. Let's see here. Michelle says, depends on which show. A friend of mine was on Finding Bigfoot, another on American Monsters, and she actually missed a couple shows that her other friend, I don't know if it's the same friend, was on. I worried about how exaggerated each would be, but they were both presented very well and authentic. Too many of the shows seem to over-dramatize stories and or make storytellers look silly, so that would be my concern. Honestly, I don't really, I personally don't see that either. I don't see the guests or the people being featured made to look stupid per se. I think the closest might have been some of the stuff I've seen on on Dead Files of all places, knowing
that one, and sometimes the way Zach talks down to the people he's interviewing, that bugs me.
Sometimes those people don't know that they're in on the joke, if you will, and he gets pretty crappy about them. That is very true. And then Dead Files, I remember my friend John was interviewed on there for hours. He was interviewed for hours. And then the only thing that they showed is he said the chair moved. It just in a montage. It's like the chair moved. Out of all those hours, that's all that they took. And we joke with him about that to this day, but it's just like, what a waste of time, quite honestly.
Speaking of the waste of time, isn't it sad that for a few of these shows, at least when Travel, Max, and all of them are doing them, I can't speak for the YouTube stuff. I haven't really watched any of that stuff, but isn't it embarrassing though that a lot of the times the production crew is there longer than the investigation team?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I don't, it's and well, that's the thing, we don't know the timing, we don't. I mean, I remember Sherry DeBenedetti told me from Ghost Hunters, that they spend 2 weeks at a location. But during that two weeks, they're actually doing investigations. It's not like, and I am sorry, and this is going to come up later, Ghost Brothers, where at 10 p.m. they leave every night. This isn't saying Ghost Brothers are bad people. They are amazing people. They are incredible people. But it's they're not paranormal investigators. And that's the thing that people forget, or they don't care. That's fine too. That this is for entertainment. This isn't the scientific or even energetic, if I may try to coin something here, research that a lot of people seems to know. So I mean, I don't know. Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And the only reason I found that out, I knew an old producer on one of the ghost shows. I worked with them at Shop NBC. They had flipped over to doing home shopping networks when a particular show failed.
Absolutely.
And it was a show that at the end of each episode, we've also had a guest on the show who was a producer on there, but another one of the producers was they would build a device to try and trap the ghost at the end of the episode. I believe the Wraith Chasers, they were called.
That's the Tennessee Wraith Chasers. Absolutely.
Yeah, and she was telling me about, she spilled the tea, if you will, on their production, and it's just like, ugh.
Well, and it's funny because my show going into production for Travel, because it was the same production company, and not their first show, but their haunted was it Haunted Towns or whatever, the second one they did. My show was really dependent on happening if their show did well. And I remember that the first segment, the week that their show debuted, the A&E version of Ghost Hunters came on with Grant Wilson back, and that's where you had Brandon Elvis and other people. And I looked at the ratings for cable that week, and Ghost Hunters debut was out of all the cable shows, original cable shows, came in at number 14. Mm-hmm. And the one with the Race Chasers came in at like 70 something.
Yeah. And
I thought to myself, well, I guess I'm not going to be doing that. So it was so. Why don't we do this? We're getting a lot of people putting in comments and stuff. And there's one in particular I want to read. Folks, I want to just say, if I don't get to my part, Tuesday is going to be Paranormal Chat, and I will just expound upon what my experiences on that night. That'll be Tuesday. So let's go ahead. Let's take a break here, and when we come back, we'll read more responses. We'll get more information, whatever else. If there's anything weather-wise, we'll let you know as well. You are listening to GhostBox Radio on Casual Friday on AM 950. Greg Bakun here. I love historic tours of Minneapolis and seeing everything it has to offer. But if you know me, I like to include a little spooky in my tours, which is why I found the perfect combination. Minneapolis Trolley Tours does this amazing candlelight ghost tour that you have to check out. It's an extremely immersive experience. It's a trolley trip that starts out at a haunted mansion, traveling around Minneapolis locations, exposing ghost stories that the public and business owners would rather left untold. Then a tour of the aforementioned haunted mansion where ghosts of past residents from the 1800s reside, plus a lot of surprises to discover. Next, experience Gertrude's After Hours. Did I mention Gertrude is the mansion's most famous ghost? Maybe she'll show up. And you finish up the tour at Gertrude's Lounge in the haunted basement of the mansion with refreshments and Q&A. The trolleys are climate controlled and the mansion is restored to perfection. Check out MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for more information.
Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
Greg Bakun here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
Casual Friday. Casual Friday. Casual Friday on GhostBox Radio.
You know, I got to wonder, with all this talk about the shows and how we're kind of downing them, Adam, I'm starting to think I probably won't be asked to be on a show. I think I've just ruined my chances. What can you do? I mean,
you would have turned him down anyway, so I don't know why you're complaining.
It reminds me, there was a guy I followed on YouTube, not paranormal, about film and stuff, and I stopped following him when he did this thing. He was really, really upset that the Broccolis, the people who do the Bond films, they sold to Amazon for like $1 billion. Mm-hmm. And he was so upset about it. And he's like, they would give independent directors a shot. Now I know now I'll never be able to direct a Bond film. Are you kidding me? You never had a chance, buddy. Come on. I mean, what do you really wake up? Well, come back to earth, I mean, and it's just like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's, yeah, I wouldn't do it. Yeah, Moon Girl's here. Hi, Moon Girl. Very good to see you tonight. So we're talking about paranormal television. Like I said, if I don't get to what I want to talk about tonight because you all are fantastic. Lots of stuff in the comments. I'm going to share my experiences on Tuesday. It's a paranormal chat. It's just going to be me. And we're going to talk more about that and come back out there with your stuff you want to talk about and share as well. Monday, we're going to be talking about the Elmwood UFO Days. That's actually going to be happening on the 25th and 26th of July in Elmwood, Wisconsin. We're going to get the organizers on. We're going to talk about that. I don't think I'm going to be at that this year, but I would love to, but maybe next year. Tuesday, paranormal chat. Wednesday, one question readings with Refined Divine. Thursday, we're doing the replay of Jeff Mudgett talking about H.H. Holmes, which is a fantastic episode. Definitely want to check that out. So yeah, another full week of amazing stuff coming up here. So once again, we're going to get through some stuff here best that we can. Question of the week. If you were asked to be featured or take part on a paranormal TV show, would you do it? Why would you do it? Or what would stop you? And going over to the comments, let's see, CL, who's still on fire over here. She goes, yes, talking about the entertainment aspect. Yes, and that's problem. Entertainment has become the experts, but they don't do this stuff for real. Now, what she's talking about here, folks, is you get these events where you have some people who've been on the paranormal TV shows, and I understand why you go to the events to see these people, but don't, everyone expects them to know everything, and some of them certainly love to play the role of, yeah, we know everything about it, and everything else anybody else wants to do on one of these investigations, no, I wouldn't do that. It's not really a good, it's like, okay, you're not an expert. First of all, there are none. So please don't, bring it down a notch, bring the ego down a notch. And just let's investigate. We'd love to see how you do it. I mean, we watch you on TV. How is it that you really do it? Oh, you don't really do it. Okay, never mind then. That sort of thing. It's weird. It's weird how people put these folks on a pedestal. Linda says, how often does anyone interviewed on a podcast get a chance to be on TV? I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's impossible, but I don't know. Tracy says, working with production crews and where she's located, I know where she's located, people like to shoot out there. Working with production crews can get pretty damn bad. They have a mark that they want to hit to get reactions. And what she is saying there is that just like with the show I did for Ghost Brothers, they knew the end before they started shooting. Let's just put it that way. They knew where they were going with the show. They knew the angle that they wanted to go with it. They knew the subject. They knew the topic. They knew the history. And I don't mean real history, the history they wanted to promote before one thing. And I'm not saying that's the Ghost Brothers that came up with that. That's just how the TV show works. Okay. Once again, I'm not having to go at the Ghost Brothers. They're good people. I've met them. And I'm going to be a rarity here. When people meet these celebrities, they often think that they're friends with them. I'm not their friends, but I've met them and they're very nice. Let's just put it that way. Because honestly, Adam, there's so many people out there. They're so taken, and I'm happy to hear it, so taken with these celebrities, they start thinking that they're really friends with them.
Yeah, to me, that gets a little creepy.
Well,
but, to each their own.
Well, and I mean, there was one in St. Cloud. I did a show. I did an event, like a para fair, and somebody came up to me, and within like one sentence, he had exhausted the list of all the known people that he had like he works with, or he says he works with, or that he communicates with. And my always the thing I like to tell people, because people who think they're friends with the pair of celebrities, or probably any celebrities, they like to take their picture with them. And I always say to them, if they make me, and if they annoy me enough, I'm going to say this to them: do they have a picture of you with them on their Facebook page? You have a picture with them. Do they ever post? Because they post a lot of pictures, but it's in their circle. It's always people in their circle. But there's not a picture of the plebs like you and I and these people who think they're friends with them. They're not pictures with them. It's going to be pictures with people they consider are on the same tier as they are.
Oh, absolutely.
Nothing wrong with that, but
No.
But it's the people who think, oh yeah, I'm friends with so and so and whatever, and it's like you're really not. I mean, and why does it bug me? Because you're using that as a way to try to kind of separate yourself from everyone else, and there's no need to separate at all. We should all just be really excited about spirit communication, paranormal techniques. How are we moving this field forward? And we don't really get that. CL says some people follow them around from event to event every weekend. Yes, and that's just it. Your money, you could do what you want, but that is very true. Now, I want to get to this one response. There's a lot of responses I haven't gotten to, and that's okay. I can even do some of those on Tuesday. But there is one response I wanted to get to. This was submitted to me anonymously, and I wanted to read this because I think it's spot on. You might think it's CL in the comments. It's not. But it's the same sort of thing. So once again, to prep everyone, in case the 15 times I've read the question you still don't know, if you're asked to be featured or take part on a paranormal TV show, what would you do? Why would you do it? Or what would stop you? Now, the response we got from this anonymous person is, if I were asked to participate in a paranormal show on a network, it would be an easy no. One, the thought of having parameters set by those making the most money while I play out the fantasy for them is not even remotely interesting. Also, when your 15 minutes is up, and it will be, can list several now. How do you come back down to earth? Paging the guy who is on Ghostbait. You separated yourself from those that have a desire to understand their own mortality and looking for deeper and bigger conversations with no strings attached. You are not admired necessarily for actual thoughts and theories, but more so for being on TV, fault of the masses and those that use your celebrity. Let's be honest. Most people do not stand in line that can be hours long to ask you for conversation, but rather an autograph that you charge for. Suddenly, your personal passion to explore life's greatest mysteries or investigations into how we continue on with our last breath are narrowed down to meet and greets with fans and merchandise. I don't fault one for wanting to be famous or on a show. It's like the music industry. You fight to be your own musician with your own style, but you have to do what sells out venues. Then you step into the indie arena, which for me is YouTube after networks. Yes, I can acknowledge TV shows do inspire some. But masses are not often inspired to find their own experiences. They're often inspired to recreate what's already out there. And think about how often beliefs, practices, techniques, and experiences change when someone else capitalizes on you. Change is not encouraged. I will always choose the real life talks. I will always know I do not know even a fraction of what is out there. I will always want to listen to someone else's experience and realize it is okay to step into their idea and try. I'm not even sure paranormal should be on social media for consumption, but how do we connect to this great big world as easy as we do here? There's a lot to question, and it's an excellent conversation starter. Adam, what you think?
I'm on board with a lot of that. I will say, though, that has got to be a heck of a retirement gig, though, to be able to go sit at that table and sign your name for like $50 a pop, take a picture. There's your retirement fund.
Well,
as for the rest of it, but I get that aspect of it. But also the same people who are sitting there signing that photograph, spending that 5 minutes with you, keeping themselves on that pedestal, that's where the fakeness comes from. And you're right. We've had guests on this show who are paranormal investigators who have been on TV, but as soon as you mention another one, damned be you, damned be them, because of how they do it or because they currently have a job.
Well, the thing is very few people actually make money off the shows. And to make an actual money off of it, you have to be like the Ghost Hunters people. You have to be like Jason Hawes, who is actually behind the scenes as well, who is, and like Zach, he's, it's his brainchild now. That's where the money really is. When I was when I was close to getting the show, I want to say I was being offered like ridiculous low amounts of money. I'm trying to remember if that's per episode or per season. I think it was about $1,300 per episode or something like that. Might even been lower. And the thought is that you go to the conventions afterwards, which is fine if people want you. Doesn't mean just because you're on a TV show doesn't mean that they want you on the convention. And then, you do the events where you're doing leading paranormal investigations and whatnot. This is, I'm very happy. There's people in the comments I haven't got to, and I'm not going to be able to get to, unfortunately, but we're going to continue this conversation on Tuesday, so that it's very, very much true. And CL says most have GoFundMe accounts now so that they can pay their bills, begging for cash. And that's the other part of it too, is people who can't, they experience this, as it's mentioned in other comments. How do they come back to Earth? So we're going to talk all about that. Once again, folks, if you're in the line of weather, keep your eyes open. Adam, as always, thank you very much for everything. We'll be back Monday. We'll be talking about the Elmwood, Wisconsin UFO Days. Tuesday, we'll continue this conversation. Have a great weekend.
Join me, Tom Hartman. We're